Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, perfect. I think it was blocked for the whole conference. Okay, did you guys hear anything at all or no?
No, nothing.
Okay, we're going to start from the beginning. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. I'm really excited to join here. My name is Dr. Tuba Jahangir. I'm board certified in internal medicine, and I graduated from Chicago Medical School in 2016. And since then, I've been working as a primary care doctor. And recently, I developed this passion for natural medicine, natural healing, and I ended up writing some books about it too. So here I am talking about food as medicine and rethinking what's already on our plate. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So, is the other thing on the side, or can you guys see the full screen without any troubles?
We can see the full screen.
Awesome. Okay, so how is food medicine? That is what we're going to be talking about today.
Dr. Tuba, you are muted again. But I haven't muted you.
Okay, I think it's automatically doing something. Okay, everything good here?
Yep.
Okay, where did I lose you guys? Okay. Anyways, let's begin. So how is food medicine? So food as we see it in our daily life, it's not just calories, right? That's what we tend to hear all the time, look at all the time. How many calories this, how many calories that? That's not what it is. There are so many important biochemical compounds that are in each and every food that's there. And a lot of those compounds, I was really shocked to find about it, is a lot of those compounds, they act like anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, antimicrobial. Chronic diseases, diabetes, hypertension, they are largely preventable through diet. And we hear a lot about our Desi diet, Pakistani diet being so unhealthy, but actually there is so much wisdom in that culture, and that's what I'm going to show you guys today. So let's kind of trace back a little bit in time, okay? In 2025 today, if you were to look at an apple and look at the amount of vitamin C that you're getting from an apple, 75 years ago, my grandparents would have to eat one apple. Today, I would have to eat 100 apples to get the same amount of vitamin C. That's enormous loss of nutrition that happened over the past 75 years, right? Let's take an example of an orange. To get the same amount of vitamin A from an orange, you would have to eat at least 21 oranges as compared to your grandparents, okay? So if I'm telling my kids that, hey, this is something that I ate when I was a kid, so you're fine eating it. No, it's not, because the nutrition is much less as compared to when I was a kid, when my grandparents were kids. The same thing about broccoli, 4 times less calcium than 75 years ago. So what actually happened 75 years ago, right? You tend to think about it. And when you look back, when you do a lot of research, you will tend to find out that it was about the same time that there was this industrial revolution that was happening, the green revolution that was happening. Chemical fertilizers were coming in, pesticides were coming in, and then the seeds, they were also being adjusted, making sure that they give high yield. Every farmer was being taught to look at the yield. They were looking at yield per acre, not health per acre, right? And the use of those chemical fertilizers, pesticides, they actually caused a drop in nutrition. They decrease the soil health. The appearance of the fruit probably got better, right? All the apples are certainly looking the same. All the bananas are certainly looking the same. What happened to the taste, though? What happened to the nutrition, though? It dropped significantly over all these years. And then now, since you're talking about the nutrition, something similar was happening in the medical world. How the diseases were treated a century ago, 7,500 years ago and prior, right? So I'm going to take you guys on a journey about 2 important plants about pain. Okay, so these are two beautiful, beautiful plants. This one is a willow bark, and then this one on the right is the meadowsweet. This one was very common in the Greece area, and this one was very common in Europe. So the Greek people and the indigenous people 400 BC onwards, according to the data, they used to use willow bark. The bark of this tree was used for pain. The doctors at that time, they would let the patients chew on the bark or actually make a tea out of it. Same thing in Europe. This plant was very common, meadowsweet. So they would actually, the European herbal medicine, they would actually give teas made out of this plant, or this flower. Leaves were also used as well. How that worked. So both of them had something very, very similar. Both of them had a component of salicylic acid. Willow bark contains salicylin, and that was a compound that actually helps reduce pain and also helped a little bit with the inflammation. And that is exactly how the medicine called aspirin got its name, from the meadowsweet. 1897, that was the exact date when aspirin was born. And I really hated history growing up in school and everything. I really never wanted to focus on it. But when I started learning about nutrition and how our fruits and plants lost all their nutrition, I really had to look back. I really had to go back in time and find out what exactly happened. How did we get here? How did we lose all of the important things that we were getting, right? If I remember my grandfather, he was running all the way up until 72. He would run like 5 miles every single day, right? And look at the people right now, 15, 16-year-old, they're not able to walk 1 mile, right? They just get tired. They have this pain, that pain, and stuff like that. So I really had to trace back in time and see what happened. And that's why I'm sharing all of this history information. Might be a little bit boring for some people, but I would like to share it anyways. So aspirin was born. This is actually a very, very old aspirin ad that I grabbed off of the internet, and it's available everywhere, right? So see how they're really putting it out there. It's safe. So aspirin was born around 1897. So almost like about 125 years ago, right? And it was initially, how aspirin was developed was initially from the willow bark. And then in 1897, this German chemist working with the company Bayer, this company, he actually developed it into this medicine called salicylic acid using the meadowsweet. Okay, and then around 1899, Bayer patented the name aspirin. Okay, and like I was saying, it was derived from the meadowsweet. So A as in acetyl salicylic acid, and spire, like a spirea. The meadowsweet has the botanical name of spirea, and it was a common suffix for medications at the time. So aspirin was born. Now, I really want to highlight this part. They patented the name aspirin. Now, I would really like to ask this question. Have you guys ever heard of a plant getting patent? Have you ever heard of an herb getting patent? Have you ever heard of a seed getting patent? No, it never happens. It's not even allowed, right? It's not even a real thing. So they were able to patent aspirin made out of a plant, right? And that it started a whole new profit market because they were able to sell it, and nobody else was able to sell it, right? So meadowsweet, you would have still able to get it. Everybody would be able to get it, pick it outside if it was growing wild. But then this has started a new generation of pharmaceuticals, I should say. So what happened with the plants? Now that the new generation of patented medications were coming to market, what happened to the plants? Petroleum was also discovered at the same time, right? So plants had a very, very small shelf life. So if I'm to pick a mint from outside, right? I go outside, it's growing in my garden. I pick some mint. how long it's going to last, right? If I store it very nicely, it's going to last in the fridge for a couple of weeks, right? And then it's going to go bad. If I dry it, dehydrate it out in the sun or in the oven, it might last me a good couple of years, but then it's going to be bad. So a smaller shelf life as compared to petroleum that doesn't expire, right? So petroleum was found, and the chemist was working on something to increase the shelf life of these plants, so they decided to combine them together. Petroleum jelly was the first medicine that was derived from petroleum. And I really would like to know from the audience, did you know that petroleum jelly is made from petroleum? I know it's a silly question, but I would really like to know. There's no shaming here, so let me know if you know this before. The petroleum jelly was actually made from petroleum. I would love to hear. So this was the first medicine that they made out of petroleum. And it's a funny story how they made it. So if you guys have probably heard or seen how they drill holes in the ground to grab water, the water bore mechanism, they go with the earth machine, and they have these rods that go in and they dig under the ground, right? So the same thing with the petroleum. They have to go under the ground with these rods that have a hole in them, and they keep digging, right? And the workers there noticed that as the rods were coming out, they had this gooey material on the inside. They called it rod wax. And some workers, they found a way to use that rod wax on their minor burns or, minor scrapes or things like that. They started using it for that. They were using it. They were fine around, late 1800s. But then a very smart investor came in. He decided to purify it. And he decided to purify it and patent it and brand it as Vaseline. So Vaseline was born in 1872. And of course, it found its way to medicine. That's another long story, but that's how it started. So he actually refined the petroleum too. He didn't just put the rod wax out and branded it. He actually refined it, putting it up and putting through some processes so that it become a little bit more refined than the rod wax that just the workers were using. So as the refinement advanced, petrochemicals became a foundation for many of the pharmaceutical drugs, especially in the early 20th century. And these are some of the examples. And you see aspirin here, we just talked about it. It was one of the very first ones that was started after the petrochemical industry was booming. Sulfa drugs, the antibiotics, they were also made using the petrochemicals. And again, the whole idea was to increase the shelf life. Today, most of the pharmaceutical, most of the modern medicines, they use these type of chemicals, these derivatives of petroleum in their medicines. So priority for these pharmaceutical companies, it became shelf life. What happens to the human life? It was not a question at that point. A shelf life, easy storage meant higher and long-term profits for these pharmaceuticals. They would make them once, and it will last them for a very, very long time. What happened to the medical field? We, as medical providers, we were taught to only talk about their side effects and the problems that were coming from the petroleum aspect of the medicine. So a lot about the history right now. Let's go ahead and do a quick checkup with you guys. Okay, let's see how much you guys know. And I know a lot of the students today, a lot of the audience today, they are very well versed in herbal medicine. So it might be a very simple question. Which food helps reduce the inflammation? Is it turmeric, potato, or rice? I would like you guys to put the answers in the chat, please. Yeah, turmeric. That's absolutely true. And then let's go ahead and ask the second question. What does garlic do in the body? Does it boost immunity? Does it provide energy? Or doesn't do much? A, B, or C? Yeah, absolutely. You guys are doing awesome. So I'm going to start, before I go on and talk about the natural medicine, I'm going to give a little bit background about some real life stories. And those real life stories come from my life. So how I started into this herbal natural medicine platform was because of something that happened to me. Okay, I used to be the doctor who would really hate herbs. I would never ever touch them. I would never ever prescribe them. And then something happened. My daughter was born. My younger daughter, she is 2.5 now. She was born, and I was kind of taking care of her, doing certain things. I was looking for hospitals at that time. We were at a new place. And while looking for those hospitals, I found this birth center that was completely natural. And I was very skeptical. I didn't want to go with that. And I kept looking and looking. And for some reason, Google kept on bringing me to that birth center. And it was only 1 block away from my house. I was like, fine, what's the worst that could happen? So I opted for it. I went for it and I fell in love. And it was the most beautiful experience that were to happen. And that whole pregnancy and the whole birth was completely natural. I didn't take any medicines at all. And after my baby was born, that's how we took care of her. I did not give her any medicines. She's 2.5 right now and has not had a single pill, a single syrup, a single synthetic medicine so far, alhamdulillah. No antibiotics, no ibuprofen, no Tylenol, Panadol, whatsoever. And then let me tell you guys another funny story that happened a couple days ago. My 7-year-old just got sick. And he was just having some common cold, some little bit of cough. And I asked him, I never force kids to eat when they're sick. I just give them some gentle hydration. And I asked him, like, is there anything you want to eat? And guess what he asked for? He asked for pineapple. And I was really, really surprised and amazed at our bodies, because his body knew what it needed. Pineapple has bromelain. And it is something that helps reduce the inflammation. It helps with scratchy throat and all of the inflammation. Plus, it has a lot of vitamin C, which is really, really useful in the cold and flu symptoms, cold and flu season time. His body knew exactly what it needed. And that's what I call absolute intelligence, not the AI, the absolute intelligence, right? And our bodies, subhanAllah, have all of those. So I really wanted to give in some background that all of this is not just theory, okay? This is something that happens in real life. This is something that happened for centuries before the modern medicine started, right? Modern medicine is fairly new. So let's talk about turmeric, not just the coloring, right? In Pakistani cuisine, we use it all the time, right? Every single food has turmeric. But why aren't we that healthy as the turmeric in every single food? Because we're not being intentional with it. We don't know, first of all, what it is. We just think, oh, it's just a color. It's going to color my counters. It's going to color the pans and everything else. It's going to color the hands or whatever. But the last thing we think is that it's medicinal, right? And if only we use it right and with intention, we would be able to get the benefits out of it. It has something called curcumin. And curcumin is something that, according to studies, it reduces the inflammation. It helps to improve arthritis symptoms, and it also shown to reduce some symptoms of depression. Okay, and these are only a couple points that I'm touching here, but the list is actually extremely long with turmeric, extremely long with the effects that it can do. Now, there are also some studies that if you combine it with black pepper, which has piperine, it boosts the absorption not by 100%, not by 200%, by 2,000%. So immense benefit if you combine the two together. And also another thing that it really needs is some fat. So what do we use in our foods? The first thing, right? The infamous tarka, right? Or we call it bhoon. You start off sauteing the food, and you have to really kind of saute it all together, putting in some ghee or oil, right? So ghee, turmeric, and black pepper. That's in every single Pakistani food, right? And that's what brings out all the benefits. The only missing thing is the intention. We don't know what we're using it for. We don't know how much to use it, and we don't ask for the healing coming from it from Allah. So those are the missing links, and I really want to bring those back into our lives so that we can heal with our food, inshallah. And now I did mention ghee or oil here. It's another long topic, but I would like to touch here. Ghee does not mean banaspati ghee. Ghee means desi ghee. And that has the whole another level of nutrition to it. Oil does not mean soybean oil or canola oil, okay? Oil means extra virgin mustard oil, extra virgin olive oil, extra virgin coconut oil, okay? Stay away from those canola, sunflower, all of those oils that just came out, okay? So the right ingredients and the right intention is going to bring the healing into our homes. Turmeric is in every kitchen in Pakistan, right? So this is not even a question. We just have to use it to our benefit. Garlic. Daily use, it's in every single recipe, but so underrated. The active compound in it is allicin. It's only formed when the garlic is crushed and left about for 10 minutes before cooking. And garlic also has a very, very long list of benefits. It's antibacterial, it's antiviral. It also helps reduce the cholesterol levels. It helps reduce the blood pressure a little bit as well. Raw garlic has a stronger antimicrobial effect. So if you're using it for viruses or bacteria, you do want to use raw garlic. My favorite recipe is just smashing it a little bit, putting honey on it, leave it on the counter for a few hours, and then throw it in the fridge. And that's your medicine for the whole flu season. Okay. Whenever anybody is sick, you give them a spoonful with water or whatever, or in any recipe, you just put that spoon in their plate. That's going to be the benefit. Okay. You can also take it with yogurt, chutneys, or whatever you like, teas, whatever you feel beneficial. And chutney, I also wanted to highlight here, as you see it, this tells you how much wisdom was in our food as it was started, right? Traditionally, the foods, the chutney, the tadka, we used to think these are the enemies, right? So can you give garlic and honey to a 7-month-old? So honey is something we avoid under 1 year of age because of the risk of botulism toxin. So that's something that I would not recommend. But if you have honey coming from pasteurized sources, then it is something that I do give to my kids. Okay. And again, I leave it up to the discretion of the audience, whatever you feel comfortable doing, but do it with extreme caution. It is not recommended. Ginger is more than a flavor also. And I did mention just 2 compounds here, gingerol and sugarals. But again, the list for ginger is extremely long too. The most common one everybody knows is ginger ale. It's a drink that's made something like a white soda, which has a hint of ginger in it. Okay, the gingerol that originated from Canada, it only had a drop of ginger in it, literally, and it was shown to help with nausea associated with the morning sickness. Okay. And then other things that it can do is reduce muscle pain. It helps reduce the inflammation, in particular in arthritis too. So you can use it different ways. Of course, we use it in every single food that we have. So continue using that. Fresh ginger or powdered. Powder is also really helpful in some cases. It's not really needed if you have fresh ginger. I wouldn't go for a powder if I have fresh ginger. And then the second thing you can do is drink it as tea. And you can do it after your meals or whatnot, wherever you like it, right? Or the simple masala chai, right? The simple masala chai that's out there, we don't even think about the benefits of it. When we think of masala chai, it's like, oh, it's going to cause a lot of heartburn, it's going to have a lot of sugar. But no, that's not what it's all about. You put the ginger in there, you put the cinnamon and the star anise in there. When the tea is brewing, you let it steep for 5 minutes. 5 minutes is what you need to let all the nutrients from ginger and the cinnamon into the tea. And then you put the milk in. Okay, and that's how you brew your healthy, nutritious tea. That's going to give you the benefits. Next time you're having some sort of aches or pains, that's the tea I want you to have. Okay, next time you're having some heartburn, I want you to add fennel seeds to your tea, and see how it works. And brew it. Okay, cook it the way traditionally it was meant to be. I know life is really, really fast these days, but this is where your self-care comes in. Now, local foods that you should be used intentionally in Pakistan, there are a ton. I mean, all of the ones that we mentioned earlier, they're all very, very local. They are, I mean, literally used every single day. But these are some things that I also wanted to point out was cinnamon. And when I say cinnamon, cinnamon or cassia, both of them are fine. Okay, I see a lot of ads talking about, oh no, this one is not good, that one is not good. But a lot of times it depends on, what they're promoting, what they're selling. Both of them are equally beneficial. So I wouldn't shy away from either one. Whatever you have at home, just use it, okay? Cinnamon has extremely helpful effect on regulating the blood sugar. It helps support digestion, and it is a very, very strong anti-inflammatory as well. Okay, yogurt, not the packed yogurt that we get, the real yogurt that you can get. Of course, good milk is hard to find, but if you can get a yogurt made out of good milk, that's going to be the best thing for your gut. Okay, it helps improve the microbiome of the gut as well, of course, without the sugar. And I know I keep mentioning a lot about sugar. I'm not staying away from the sweetness in life. It's important. Okay, we need it. We need all the sugar. So the sugar that I'm asking to avoid is the white sugar that's out there. Okay, you want to have gur, you want to have shakar, you want to have honey, you want to have stevia. You know what stevia is? Those are just simple leaves that you can put on. Even one leaf it provides enough sweetness to sweeten a cup. Okay, a cup of tea or something. So those are the things that you want to add in your life. And then the next thing here is the dates, right? So another sweetness bringing thing in life, rich in potassium, magnesium, and antioxidants, and very, very good for replenishing the energy quickly. And I know a lot of people stay away from it when they're diabetics, but there is not a 100% contraindication. You can still have it. According to studies, it actually does not bring spikes in the blood sugar very, very quickly. It actually regulates the blood sugar over time. Now, that doesn't mean that you keep on taking it, a bunch and a whole plate. Just 1 or 2 a day, it should be okay. Okay, you don't want to completely restrict yourself out of it unless there's like a real medical reason for it. And then another thing that really every single home need to have is our aloe vera. Okay, the one with the thorns that grows everywhere. Gets stuck in your clothes and stuff. But that's something that you really want to have too. Aloe vera is something that you can use when you're having any sort of burn, when you're having any sort of sunburn. Extremely helpful. I mean, I would forget about everything else that you put on a burn and use aloe vera. Grow it in your homes, grow it in a pot or whatever, and whenever you need it, just slice it and use it at that point. So clinical tips in making food therapeutic. And you probably would notice the plate of biryani here. And I'm sure some people might be thinking, how am I making a biryani therapeutic, right? So like we talked about all the things here, biryani has a lot of healthy food. You see the black pepper here, you see a ton of turmeric because of all the coloring, all these vegetables that are in here too. Right? So turmeric, pepper, and fat, and that is combined in a biryani, and that's very, very anti-inflammatory. Again, the worst part of it would be coming from the oil, and a couple other things that I could talk, but we're short on time, so I would just kind of limit that for now. And then another thing about ginger, when you want to make it therapeutic, you want to add some honey to it and add some warm water to it to make it a little bit more therapeutic. So ginger tea again. That's another very, very good way to make your regular food therapeutic. And then talking about the dose. So if you don't know what you're using something for, you won't know, right? You won't be able to use it in enough quantity. Like for turmeric, if you know that it creates color issues, hands or anything around it, you would only use a tiny little, like, I really don't want to use it, right? But if you know that it's therapeutic, it's bringing some healing into your home and to your family, this is the time that you would be using a good amount and the amount that's really needed. Okay. And in our body, we have a mechanism to tell when something is not right. Right. So if you put too much of something, it's going to make it bitter. So you already know how much of something that you have to put. So that's what you want to do in enough amount that it brings out the medicinal benefits of it. Okay. Not just so tiny that it doesn't do much. And the same thing that I was talking about the tea earlier, you want to steep it for at least 5 minutes, okay? And then timing matters. So morning is good for digestion, so ginger tea is a good thing to have in the morning. And then for inflammation, the good thing to have at night would be something like golden milk. Milk has a very therapeutic effect on sleep. So if you have a cup of warm milk, according to studies, it actually helps with sleep. Plus the fat in the milk, it increases our body's ability to fight inflammation. So whole milk is what I promote, not the low-fat milk, not the 0% or almond milk or all those sort of things. If you want it, you can have it. But what I would recommend for therapeutic benefits for healing would be the whole milk. And then form also matters. So raw garlic versus a cooked garlic, the benefits are different, a little bit different. Fresh ginger versus dried ginger, the benefits are a little bit different. Both of them are very, very good. So I wouldn't shy away from either one. But form do matter a little bit. And at the end, I know I talked a lot about healing from the food, a lot of therapeutic effects coming from the food, but it's not a cure-all, especially when you're sick. Okay, so it does support food in general. It supports your health, but if you're sick, you know where to go. You have to trust in the providers who do have a little bit more experience than you when you're getting sick. Okay, and herbalists and doctors, they can work together. In rare cases, it doesn't happen all the time, but you have to find a good circle of providers around you that do believe in both. Okay, and there are many out there who would help you. So a simple question again: if you were to get a slight cough but low-grade fever, 100.4 or under, what would you choose? Would you choose garlic, honey, ginger, gourd candies? Would you take Johar Jashanda? Or would you take cough syrup plus azithromycin plus 2 other medicines that every doctor prescribes here? And I would really like to see the answers to this one. Again, no shaming here, just put on whatever you feel is good or whatever you could use. The first one, yeah, we have some smart people in here. Let's see what other people will use. And again, no shaming here. It's fine. I mean, if you would go for the other ones, it's okay. We just want to talk about it here openly. Nishanda, garlic, honey, yeah. So, and I put Jashanda here on a purpose. And the purpose was to highlight the issues with it. It probably, when it was made initially several years ago, I think it's as old as Pakistan itself. So initially when it was made, it might have been made just with herbs, but as of today, it has a lot of additives. They use a lot of preservatives and they use added sugar in it. So those are the reasons that I would not recommend it anymore as the first choice. And again, you can do whatever you please do, but I would stick to my garlic, honey, and ginger good candies as the first thing. Garlic, again, is antiviral and antibacterial as well. Honey has its own medicinal effects too, if it's sourced the right way, not the honey that you find in the stores, but if you source raw honey, that has a lot of medicinal benefits to it. And then again, ginger. All of these medicines, like we were talking about, they have a lot of issue with petrochemicals. We're almost short on time, so we could only talk so much in the past 30 minutes. So I have expanded all of these information in these tools. So these are the 3 books that I wrote: Healing Protocols, Healing Prescriptions, and Healing Refills. And then I created some checklists to go with it as well. And there's an audio that talks about 5 common mistakes that people do when starting with herbs. Now, when do you want to go and see the doctor? Because again, this is an important point. I did not want to miss out on it at all. If you have symptoms that are not getting better after taking all of those herbal remedies at home, you do want to go see the doctor. If you have fever of 102 or more, you do want to go to see the doctor. If you have difficulty breathing or chest pain, you do want to go see a doctor, or maybe call an emergency room. If you have cough that's not going away for 2 weeks or more, that's the time to go see a doctor to figure out if there's something else that's wrong. A little bit more in-depth analysis. And then, of course, weakness or confusion that you're not able to take away. Now, final takeaways, I really wanted to end with this ayah from the Quran. And when I'm ill, it is He who cures me. So me as a medical doctor, I do not have any capacity at all, right? I'm only the facilitator here. It is Allah who's the one who's bringing all the healing to everybody. And He has mentioned a lot of foods in the Quran, right? And all of those foods in the Quran, they have a lot of beneficial effects too. So I really want to point it out as well that we need to bring those back in life. Food already in your kitchen can be medicine, but if you use it intentionally, consistently, and with correct combinations. Daily foods, they also need the right form. Say no to GMO, genetically modified, and hybrid as well. I think in Pakistan, according to the law, that's not allowed, but if you see in the markets everywhere, you would see GMO and hybrid foods. So this is something that you really want to avoid at all costs. Invest in your health, okay? And evidence is catching up with tradition slowly. So trust them both and do your research and choose wisely, okay? And whatever foods that we talked about here, or whatever foods that you're hearing about, whatever medicines you might be hearing about, just use them in moderation. Remember, too much of a good thing is a bad thing. So be careful with what you're using. Keep healing with nature and knowledge. And thank you so much for joining today's session on food as medicine. And this is a little bit of a disclaimer that all of this information was for educational and informational purposes only. And this is my contact information. I do have a book for free for you guys as well. You can grab it here, tbytuba.com/products/free. And this is my book, Healing Protocols, that I would love to give to you guys. And if we have enough time, I'll leave it to the host if you want to grab any questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Walaikum salam wabarakatuh. Dr. Tuba, it was amazing to listen from you. It was fantastic. What was your journey? And how you shifted from modern medicine to learning herbal medicine and natural system of medicine, and how you are utilizing it for the beneficial of everyone. Allahumma barik to all the efforts you are doing, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala strengthen you to continue it forward, inshallah.
Thank you. Ameen. Thank you so much.
If our audience has any questions, we have just 5 minutes, and then we will be welcoming our next speaker, inshallah. And I will share all the credentials, all the free books, the emails of Dr. Tuba with the people in the group, inshallah. Thank you so much, Dr. Tuba, to be with us.
Thank you.
I hope I would have you soon, inshallah, again.
Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you. Walaikum assalam. ओके जी, हमारे नेक्स्ट स्पीकर, हमारे नेक्स्ट हकीम साहब जो हैं वो हकीम जीशान मारफानी हैं।